Hello friends, welcome to this session on LIS education. We are here to discuss the issues and challenges that we are facing in library and information science education. I am Jaideep Sharma from Indira Gandhi National Open University, Faculty of Library and Information Science. So, today we will be taking up the challenges that we are facing in the education of library and information science. To begin with, we will start with the status of LIS education. And whilst discussing the status, let us talk a little bit about the history, how it started, where from it started. As it has been, the beginning of LIS education has been need based, the training of librarians. It is the erstwhile Baroda state, when the Maharaja felt that the librarians should be trained, he invited William Alanson Borden in the year 1911, and it is here that the education for library and information science began. So, we can see that it has been more than 100 years. In fact, it is almost a century and 2 decades that we have been in LIS education. It is time we take a look back and see how we have progressed. What are the areas that we need to look up into? What are the areas where we need to improve? How can we do better? This is more important, particularly because our profession is seeing a lot of changes. We have entered the information society long back. It has been almost 60 years since we have been in the information society. There has been a lot of changes in the society as far as digital information is concerned. We should take the advantages of this digital information. We should take benefit of the information society. Our professionals should be better placed. There has been a feeling in the society that the people from computer sciences, the digital world, they are dominating more, particularly when there has been a lot of scope as far as the service area is concerned. It is here that we should look into areas that we can improve upon and see that the manpower that has been engaged in the information sector comes from the educational field that we are concerned with. So, as I was telling you that it was 1911 that the education began, and it was later on taken up in the year 1915 when Asa Don Dickinson in the Punjab University also started a diploma course that was for 3 months duration. In fact, most of the programs were from 1 to 3 months initially. Later on, this program that started in 1915, it was extended to 6 months duration. So, it took up slowly from 3 months to 6 months, and later on which these training programs which did not award certificates or diplomas, later on development was that Madras University in the year 1937 initiated a diploma program that was for 1 year. It was a postgraduate diploma, and we can say that laid the foundation of library and information science education in the country. It was followed up by beginning of diploma programs in other universities of the country also. So, it is how that the LIS education took up roots in the country, starting with diploma programs. But as you see today, as we all know, that it is a well established discipline in all the universities. You cannot say, I mean, in fact, it is not 100% of the universities, but a large number of universities are offering library information science programs. To be exact, we can say that almost around 200 universities are offering LIS education. Many of these universities are offering master's degree in library information science. Also, there are universities that are offering bachelor's degree program. Many of the universities are offering PhD programs, as some universities are also offering MPhil program in library information science. As you see, there are some other programs also which are certificate and diploma, and as it began with, still some universities are offering these programs also. besides universities, it is the Library Information Science Associations also offering LIS education. Some institutions, autonomous institutions like the Documentation Research and Training Center Bangalore or Indian Statistical Institute, they are also offering library information science programs. NISCARE, the erstwhile INSTOC, it has stopped offering library information science education, but then nothing to feel discouraged, because there are institutions that are coming up and it is growing. Like Tata Institute of Social Sciences, they have also started library information science programs. So, there has been a growth in the institutions, in the universities that are offering the program. The central universities, the state universities, the deemed universities, all are taking up this program. But then the proliferation is there, the numbers is growing. According to a recent estimate, they say that we produce around 15,000 graduates who complete this program and enter the job market. So, quite encouraging that people are taking up these courses, and the people who are joining our courses, they are also from a wide area of different disciplines, the arts, humanities, social sciences, sciences, even engineers are taking up this program because of the increasing demand of the skills and competencies that these people possess. But then what is it that we really need to ponder into, and what is it that we really need to improve upon? And while looking at these things, we will take up these one by one. Like as we were mentioning about the status, we have said that these programs are of different levels. These are offered in different languages, basically English, but then they are also offered in the regional languages. So, that is a variation, and it's also the requirement also, it's a need also. Like if you are offering in different regional areas, to really cater to the clientele, you need to offer them in regional languages. Similarly, they are also offered in different modes, the conventional mode, face to face mode, the distance education mode, the online mode also. Though it began in some universities in the online mode, it is being offered on the SWAYAM portal also, some of the programs. So, the variety is there as far as the programs, as far as the levels, as far as the languages. Similarly, also I mentioned that all universities, a large number of universities, even colleges are offering this program, like in Maharashtra, like in Odisha. Similarly, some other states also, colleges too are offering. It is also offered, I told you about by the institutions that are offering, and also professional associations, as I mentioned. So, it is quite encouraging that different institutions are offering at different levels, and recently around 4 or 5 years back, it has also been introduced at the school level. The CBSE, Central Board of Secondary Education, is offering library information science as a subject in the senior secondary classes. The National Institute of Open Schooling too is offering. So, it has come down at the level of schools also. So, that is a healthy practice, that a discipline that people used to know only after the graduation, it was also a little bit negative, that they had not seen the discipline, they had not really come to know about this subject prior to the graduation, that now there is a chance to know about it even at the level of school. So, that adds to the popularity of the discipline. Now, let us come to the issues one by one. Initially, to start with, let us take up the levels of programs. As I mentioned, that the education is being imparted right from the certificate to the highest, that PhD degree. It has been felt that the different kinds of programs, at times there is a little bit of overlap. People feel that what you study at the diploma at times is also there in the bachelor's degree. So, that overlap has not to be there. So, one needs to take care that if we have programs at different levels, it should be a sort of a progression, one after the other. Like if a person takes up a certificate program, it's a stepping stone towards the diploma, and it moves further up to the bachelor's degree program, master's degree program, and so on. So there has to be very specific objectives of the different levels of programs that are there. One should not feel that there is a sort of repetition, though it cannot be totally different. There has to be some duplications also, but one has to be very clear. In fact, it is at the level of the profession that one has to decide what sort of levels and what sort of programs are to be there, to see that you have these programs at the level of certificate, at the level of diploma, and similarly the bachelor's and master's degree, and so on, MPhil and PhD. At times it is also felt that at higher levels also there is an overlap, though you cannot do away with the overlap, but then we have to be very conscious while planning these programs, while thinking about the objectives of these programs, that the overlap is avoided. Another issue that has to be taken up when you talk of the levels of the program is that who should conduct these programs, because as we discussed in the beginning, that it started with the diploma programs, certificate programs, and generally they used to be run by associations, library information science associations, and still associations are running these programs. But do we really think that these should be taken up by other institutions also? Universities are also offering these programs, but then it does matter whether a diploma is undergraduate or postgraduate. When you talk of a postgraduate program, which is a diploma, it may be highly specialized also. Otherwise also, if a diploma is postgraduate, means it requires some sort of specialization. So there is a view that such programs should be run by universities. So this is the first issue, that when you have programs at different levels, we should be very clear that the content should not be overlapping. There is really a need to offer these programs at these levels. They should match with the requirements of the professionals, of the staff who really need such competencies. Like if a person attempts a certificate course, the person is eligible to do some particular types of jobs that match the competence. Similarly for diploma and other higher programs also, though it is not always that it matches with the designation or job, but also the functions that the person has to perform. Even at higher levels, a person may have to undergo a diploma program, and because it is specialized in nature, and that helps one do that particular job. Now, as I mentioned that we are churning out around 15,000 professionals every year. Where do these professionals go? Are they absorbed or not? It is a very healthy practice that a large majority of the professionals who pass out their education should be adequately absorbed, should find jobs as per their qualifications, as per their expertise. That is what is known as demand versus supply. There should not be a gap between the demand and supply. And it is another very important issue that we as professionals are concerned with. We should know what are the requirements of the field. In fact, there has been a very important demand and supply study undertaken long back in the late 1970s under the auspices of NISAT. That was a very popular survey undertaken at the level of the country, and it was referred to also. There have been other surveys undertaken where library position is also considered, but it is not adequately covered. At times, such manpower studies that look into the demand and supply of the manpower have been undertaken, but sporadic efforts. Individual researchers out of interest and curiosity have done that, but at times such surveys also lag. They are not very comprehensive. They are cornered around certain particular areas only. So, it is very important that we as professionals come to know the demand that is there. Similarly, the students that are admitted, they should be in consonance with the demands. That will really result into a healthy situation. But then if we really take into consideration the demand, we should also remember that there is a large sector, that is the unconventional sector, that requires library and information science professionals, like the media, like the corporate sector. But then when we talk of demand, we should also look into what are the sort of competencies expected of such professionals that will help us to redesign our curricula, to see how we train our students that they are able to adopt and adapt in these employment situations. So, this is an important issue, that while we conduct demand and supply surveys, not only the numbers, but also the sort of expectations of the employer as far as their competencies are concerned, the people who are going to join them. But then also these should be regular exercises. There should be a constant feedback to the schools who are imparting LIS education, because unemployment really adds to the negative image of the profession. And I think it is here that the associations can play an active role, particularly the national level associations, and they should coordinate with the state level associations, and some institutions at the level of the nation, at the level of the state, they can provide expertise, they can also be of help, and I think that will really help to the building of the image of the profession, help the young professionals who join the profession, and thus this is very important. Now, let us go to the students who are entering our profession, and it is here that we discuss about the admissions that we do for the LIS education in the country. The very first point is, if you talk of the bachelor's degree program, as we all know, it is a postgraduate program, and the minimum requirement for the bachelor's degree program is that one should be a bachelor's in any domain. But then there is a view in the profession that those entering the library information science profession would do well if they are a postgraduate. Generally it is a feeling. So, while admitting students, should we give any preference to those who are already postgraduates, or should we consider graduates and postgraduates as equal, which is generally not accepted? Should we have seats as per the requirements, like should we have a particular percentage of students coming from the science stream, from the social science stream, from the humanities, from the other streams? I think though we cannot really compartmentalize to a large extent, but then we should see that we have people from different streams, because once we have people from different streams and they enter the job market, they will be able to take care of users from different streams. Now, it has been generally the feeling of people in the profession that our students, the students that we are getting, they are intellectually not as capable as we would have liked to. At times there is also a feeling that those who drop out from other areas, they enter. Those who are not getting admitted in other programs, they are entering the LIS education. So, we have to really think about this issue, how to overcome this issue, what sort of measures that we can take so that such people do not enter. The people who enter library information science, they should be motivated to join this discipline. And I think it is in this regard, introducing library information science as a subject at school, senior secondary level would really help. Those who get interested, I think they will later on also pursue library information science. So, this is one area that we need to really consider, and while seeing that people who enter library information science, they are really those that we require, can we think of introducing an entrance exam? You know, this is a professional program all other professional programs that we see around us, like the management, like the medicine, like the law, all they conduct entrance examination. So, what is the harm if we also have entrance examination? Let us see that we get those whom we really require. I think this is a profession where one needs to be outgoing, one needs to be an extrovert, one needs to have competence of a particular branch of knowledge, one should be well versed, one should be an expert in a particular discipline. So, when we know our requirements, when we have an idea of the demand, why not test those who are taking admission into our programs whether they really are those whom we require? Can we check their competence? Can we check their communication skills? We need good communicators. We need people who can love to be with people, who have a service attitude. So, that is an important area that we need to consider. Similarly, the profession library and information science, we are shifting more towards the information area. We are shifting more towards using information and communication technology. We would like to have people who are technology savvy, who are not afraid of using technology in providing information, who may have a little bit of programming skills, who have an exposure towards the software and hardware, who are otherwise also efficient in handling digital information. So, can we think of testing our students while admitting them that even if they do not have degrees, even if they do not have formal qualifications in these areas, they have a feeling of getting adjusted towards these requirements, who are efficient, who have a love for such things. I think because when we talk of competencies of LIS professionals, we also talk of, besides knowledge and skills, attitude. One should have that attitude. I think then we can mold, we can further nurture, we can further sharpen their competencies in these areas. So, we need to really think of whether we can have entrance test wherein we test their computer skills, we test their interpersonal skills, we test their knowledge in a particular domain, because we want people from different domains and we test their knowledge in the domain. I think that will be really useful to us. Now, when we have admitted students, we also need to think about the department that is offering the program. There is a variety of departments that are offering LIS education, like the universities, as I mentioned, central universities, state universities, deemed universities. But then there are instances where there are no full time departments that are offering the program. It is libraries that are running the programs. Though library professionals are equally competent, they are also able to do that. But then, as we all know, librarians are engaged in their main job of managing libraries, and in addition, managing the department is an additional responsibility. They can be of help, they can guide, they can take classes otherwise on occasions, but then if we really want to have a program, full time program, we need to have full time faculty. We need to have a well established discipline department with the number of faculty that has been recommended by the University Grants Commission. Then only such programs should be offered by such departments. It is not that we start a program with a faculty or two with not a particular permanent department, and later on we think we will improve. No, that is not really felt, that is not appreciated. Therefore, we need to think about departments that are full time, having full time faculties. Now, when we have considered the faculty, the department, now let us think about the teachers. As we said that it has to be teachers adequate in number, as has been changing with times, as has been recommended by the bodies like University Grants Commission. even if we already have well established departments, it is seen that the posts are vacant and they are running. So, that also has to be taken care of. Then in the changing times, a very important fact is that people have not been able to upgrade their skills. So, that is important for teachers, because the way the curriculum is being updated, the people who are responsible for imparting this curriculum, they should also upgrade. So, we need to have a systematic a system in place which helps the teachers to upgrade their competencies, particularly in a discipline as young as library information science, which is very fast changing. So, we need to evolve a measure like the present one which we are having. We can have other alternative options also, wherein we are able to focus on how to train the teachers, so that they are able to really upgrade, update themselves as well as the other teachers, and also impart education, that is the talk of the day, that is the requirement. We already have refresher programs like the one, we can also have other alternatives. We need to have a system in place where the teachers can evaluate themselves, an evaluation procedure. Let us not be biased, let us not be afraid to be evaluated. I think that will really help us to improve the quality of education, and we will take up this issue of the teachers that is there and do better. There are so many issues that are facing library information science education. We have just taken up a few here, and I think we will continue in the sessions ahead. Till then, okay, take care. Thank you.